So you've got your coffee and you made a list of a few practical steps that you can actually take today to start moving forward, solving real problems in your life and the lives of the people around you. Well, I hope you left some room at the top of the list because I forgot to tell you what needs to be first. You know that thing that someone did to you that you've been carrying around for years? That thing that makes you angry and hurt, and it keeps you stuck where you are, trapped in a small world? Yeah, that one. Listen, it's not worth it. Let it go. So, someone, somewhere, somehow, sometime, wronged you. Okay. It wasn't right. It wasn't just. It wasn't kind. And it still hurts a lot. But now what? Well, let's start by putting it into some context. You know, experts estimate that the total number of people who have ever lived on the planet Earth over the ages is around 107 billion. So question, how many of those 107 billion people do you think suffered some injustice or some injury sometime, somehow from someone? A lot of them? Most of them? Look, yes, whatever it was that someone did to you wasn't right, but it's not unique. Injustice and hurt in some way, shape, or form just might be a normal part of the human experience. So now what? I mean, it's been eating away at your insides for years, hasn't it? You don't grow, you just churn the same hurt and bile and resentment over and over and over again in your gut and in your heart until it warps your mind. Let's be clear. It's your right, absolute right to do that. It's understandable. But the clock is running on your life. And this isn't making you better or your world bigger. It's holding you in bondage, and it's making you a smaller person with a smaller life. I mean, how much of your life do you want to let it steal from you? Because it won't get better on its own like a bad cold. It doesn't just go away. You have to send it away. You have to make a deliberate choice, an act of the will to forgive someone. You see, anger is easy. I mean, anger and hurt, they run downhill, like with gravity, like runaway trains until they crash and they settle deep inside of us. Anger puts a collar and a leash on us. Anger and the desire for retribution may be the most corrosive substances in life. You know, the angry young man just becomes a mean old man. The angry girl just becomes the bitter old lady. Angry people start out being angry about some particular injustice, but after a while, they just become angry and bitter about the world in general. And then they start looking for some new injustice to stay angry about. It's like a virus. It's always seeking a new host. Well, if anger is easy, then love is an uphill effort. Love goes against the gravity of our nature. You have to actively choose to forgive. You have to love your enemies. It takes effort. It doesn't come naturally. It's hard work. Right in the middle of the oldest Christian prayer, there's a catch. God makes us promise to forgive others as he has forgiven us. In fact, he goes so far as to say that if we won't choose to forgive, then we won't be forgiven. So even if you're not an actively religious person, that ought to make you think. Now, I do know what you're thinking because everyone who forgives or considers forgiving thinks it. I mean, if I forgive that person, won't they just hurt me or some other people again? Well, they might. But here's an important distinction. My faith teaches me to forgive, but not necessarily to trust. And there's a big, big difference between being, between forgiveness and trust, between, being graceful and being gullible. Grace is when we give others what they need, but not necessarily what they deserve. Someone who hurt me doesn't have to earn my forgiveness. In fact, it might be impossible for them to earn my forgiveness, but they do have to earn my trust. I mean, just because I forgive them doesn't mean that I, hand them the keys to my car right away or ever, or put them in a position where they could hurt me or others again, maybe soon or ever, until at least they demonstrate that they're actually trustworthy, and who knows how long that will take. Look, if you want to take your life back, to gain control of what you can and be a responsible moral agent, start by cutting the chain that makes you drag around all of that junk. Then you can start moving forward again.
This is the Take Back 21 Challenge. 52 ways to regain control of our lives this year. Now, to get the whole list, and some other interesting content that'll be coming soon, hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Be not afraid. Instead, choose to be wise, do good, and live free.